So we're going to bring Peter up here in a minute, but we do, of course, want to thank the sponsors once again. Our platinum sponsor, Azugal Ads, and, of course, Share a Sale, Digital River, and Buy.at. And they've been great sponsors of the show. So please go to their booths, go visit with them, talk to them about the things that they're doing and ways that they can help you. Tonight, the big event is the Affiliate Summit Triathlon, which you can go to affiliatesummit.com/triathlon and still enter today. It's $100 to enter. All of the proceeds go to Big Brothers and Big Sisters. As you can see, the money does really help people. Yesterday, they presented a check here for $20,000. Yeah, great job, Missy and Sean. So the work that they're doing to bring in money for charity and doing all of these things is really, really helping. So you can still enter for tonight, and it's $100. And if you win a booth at 2010 in Vegas, which is over a $5,000 value. And the key point here is you can resell the booth. You do not actually have to use it.
Can you repeat that?
Or five platinum passes if you'd wish. So I think the booth idea, that's a good one. So please go sign up today. It's $100. I think you can actually find Amy who's on staff and actually paying cash if you have cash, but they'd prefer you to pay online. And we'll see you there tonight. Look in your Feedfront magazine for the time. I believe it's around 5 or 4:45 or sometime today. So I think that's it for the announcements. We kind of got them all out of the way yesterday. Any questions? No, okay, get on with the show, right? All right, so we're going to bring Peter Shankman up here, and here's a nice little photo of Peter that he's not too happy with, I'm sure. But this is what happens, Peter, when you put images for public out on the internets. So, and there were worse photos than this. Where did Peter go? He's around here someplace. There he is. So, actually, there were worse photos, so you should be lucky that this is the one I chose. Peter is, of course, the man who owns a company called The Geek Factory, which is a public relations firm here in the city. Has done some wonderful things for clients, which he parlayed into a book called Can We Do That, which is one of my favorite books. One of my favorite marketing and business books out there. If you haven't gotten a copy of it, I highly suggest you go read it. Talks about outrageous PR stunts that work and why. And talks about amazing things that he's done for his clients in the book. And I highly suggest you go out and read that book. Peter, of course, has this little thing called HARO. You may have heard of it. It's called helpareporterout.com. Who in here knows what HARO is? So we've got 50-60% of the people in here. So the people who don't know what HARO is, it's a place where journalists and people looking for publicity come together and try to help each other. The genesis of it, I believe, is for reporters, because he has a background in dealing with reporters. If you read in his book, as I did, it talks about how he reaches out to journalists all around the world and builds relationships with them. So what HARO does is actually bridges that gap for you. Takes away the middleman and takes away the effort that you used to have, and now you're able to go in and get in front of journalists, and journalists are able to learn from you, and it's exploded. It's absolutely exploded, and that's one of the reasons why Peter's here, because we're going to talk about a few of the numbers from it, because it's absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it. So, 286,240 is the number of frequent flyer actual miles Peter accrued in 2009 so far. So, Peter is traveling. So we're expecting a well-prepped presentation, because he's probably done this 6 times since yesterday, right? Actually, he was in Boca yesterday, right? Doing probably something similar. So we're expecting a good presentation. Just under 100,000 HARO members in 14 months. I mean, that's a great targeted business to build in just over a year. Over 100,000 targeted people, and that's an amazing statistic. And what has happened is that has been 24,000 journalists who have used HARO in 14 months. So, I mean, the web is changing, as we all know. If you've ever been in the position of trying to get publicity for your business or for your brand, you know that journalists are now turning to the web before they're turning to the, quote, wire that really, I don't even think exists anymore, I'm not sure. But, so this is truly an amazing feat, and people are finding HARO and then finding you. And the case studies that are coming out, as Peter hopefully will talk about, are truly amazing, and people getting mentioned in global publications all around the world from being found in HARO. So if you haven't gone to helpareporterout.com, please go today and sign up for free. But here's the big one. I think the people in this show will appreciate this. From 0 to just over $1 million in revenue in 14 months. So, what's truly amazing about this number is, in just over 14 months to be able to go from 0 ad revenue and build something that got so much traction, it was lightning in a bottle, essentially. It was one of those moments where you said, why the heck didn't I think of that, right? As soon as I saw it, I said, why didn't I think of that? And of course, even if I would have thought of it, it wouldn't have worked because I don't have the contacts that Peter did, and he was able to get it started going right away. So we want to bring Peter up here. Peter, congratulations on all your success. We're expecting a great keynote to learn more about PR today and how to get attention and how to do all those things. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Shankman.
Thank you, Jim. Those numbers were off by about 3,000 miles. I was in Florida yesterday, and I came back. Wow. It's funny. I was talking yesterday to a PR association in Florida, and so I did my usual speech, which I usually make up about 8 seconds before I walk on stage. And I just looked at my calendar. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got the affiliate summit. Wow, it's going to be a big one. Crap, those people know what they're talking about. And I'm sitting on the plane last night, like, I have to write something. I have to actually make something up. I'm screwed. I'm talking to really, really smart people who actually are going to see through all my bullshit. This is going to be a problem. So with that, I'm going to incorporate a couple of the usual speech moments into this. But what I'm really going to talk about a little bit is sort of, I'm not going to sit here for an hour and a half and pimp out HARO. You guys can find it on your own. But I'm going to talk about the things that I've done with it and why it's worked. Because that, I think, is more applicable to you. And I think that at the end of the day, what you need to take away from getting up this early, how many of you are hungover? I won't judge. Yes. Okay, so to 2 honest people here, each get a gift. Here, Missy. Nice catch. And one for you as well. The rest of you are just all hungover and lying. So what you need to take away here, because you did get up this early, is actionable stuff. Stuff you can actually take home and start using. And so I'm going to try to give you some of that. Here's how it's going to run. I'm going to give you a little minute-and-a-half background on who I am and why you're listening to me. I have a 4.5-minute video that I'm going to show you that I found about a year ago, and it illustrates a point. And then I'm going to talk. I have no PowerPoint. I don't necessarily believe in them. I'm just going to talk. So who am I, first of all? You know me from HARO, and you know me from Geek Factory and from panels and conferences and speaking. And I was in grad school in Santa Barbara, California in the early 90s studying fashion and portrait photography because it was a great way to meet women. And no, it's true. And with 18 credits to go, I lost my financial aid. The government sent me a letter that said, your parents make too much money. We are taking away your financial aid. And I sent the government back a letter that said, my parents do make too much money. They keep it. And the government didn't buy that. And that was my first experience with big corporations and big companies that don't know how to take a joke. And that came in very handy over the course of my life. So I moved back home. And in I guess, late 94, early 95, is there anyone under 25 years old? Because if there is, it's going to require a little extra explaining. Okay. I was, in 94, 95, I was hanging out in something called the Melrose Place TV Gossip Chat Room. And for under 25, it's essentially twittering about, like, Gossip Girl, but you had to be in front of a computer. And you had a thing connected to your phone, which then connected to the computer, and you'd send a message, go nuke a pizza, come back, and there'd be a response. This is what we did. Unfortunately, you can all laugh at that and kind of forget the fact that I just admitted that I was a Melrose Place junkie in the mid-90s. So I was in this chat room, and someone in the chat room who for the first time ever is actually here watching this speech, I've said this thousands of times, she's actually here, said, hey, my company's trying to build a newsroom. Why don't you submit your resume? And I said, sure, I have absolutely no experience. I have a journalism degree and nothing else. I'm sure this will be perfect to work for whatever company you work for. And 2 weeks later, I was being moved down to Virginia to become one of the founding editors of the AOL newsroom. And with absolutely no experience, myself and about 3 or 4 other editors spent 2.5 years launching digital news. Prior to that, there was no digital news. We were before MSNBC, we were before AP Online, we were before Fox TV, FoxNews.com, before everything. We launched it. And we did it by having absolutely no idea what we were doing. We'd go in every day, and we'd try to do something. And if it worked, we'd do it again. And if it didn't work, we wouldn't do it again. There's a movie called Better Off Dead that I quote, this was the Better Off Dead years, because there's a scene in Better Off Dead where John Cusack is at the top of top of a hill trying to learn how to ski. And his friend, a stoner, next to him says, you know, dude, it's really easy. Skiing's simple. Go that way really fast. If something gets in your way, turn. And essentially, not only is that what we did at AOL, but that's what we did with the internet. That's what we did in social media. That's what we're doing. You know, we're going as fast as we possibly can. And if something gets in our way, an obstacle, we're either climbing over it or going around it and figuring out how to keep on going. Especially in this economy. We're doing that more and more. The ones who are in this room, the smart ones who, you know, aren't necessarily taking the easy road of the direct deposit paycheck and that whole thing, we're the ones who go around those obstacles better than anyone else, because now is sort of the best time to do that kind of stuff. So, spent 2.5 years at AOL, came home. Long story short was, in the summer of '98, I was living in New York, wanted to start a PR firm and had no money. And it was the summer, there was a small independent film coming out on video called Titanic, which you probably didn't hear of it, it didn't do well. Everywhere you looked, you saw signs that said, buy Titanic on video. Buy Titanic on video. So I took my rent money, which was all I had in the world, and I had 500 t-shirts printed up. And the t-shirts read simply, it sank, get over it. And I went into Times Square, and I figured if I could sell 180 shirts at $10 a piece, I'd make my rent money back. And I could use that, you know, to pay my rent, and I wouldn't be homeless. And anything else I made, I could use to start, maybe, my company, you know, by like buying a pen or something. I went into Times Square with my shirts, and I figured I could sell, you know, 180 shirts in a week. I sold 500 shirts in 6 hours. Made $5 grand. I was on the corner of 46th and Broadway. I came home. I think I threw $5,000 up in the air, rolled around it naked, and then nothing will get that image out of your head ever. I called a reporter I knew at USA Today. I think this was my first documented case of helping a reporter out. I called the reporter and said, hey, I just did something funny. I know it's a Saturday, and Saturdays suck for you at USA Today because you have to write Monday's paper essentially on Saturday before news comes out. So, you know, if you want to use this as filler, feel free. And she said, that's a really funny story. I told her what happened. She said, so you're selling them online now? And I went, of course I am. That's why I called you. Built the worst website known to me. This is '98. There was no WordPress. There was no Cafe Press. There was Peter with you know, caret, HTTP. I think it was buy shirt, click here. You'd click to send me an email saying you wanted a shirt. I would send you an email back with my address. You would mail me a check. It was the Rube Goldberg fulfillment process is essentially what I created. And the reporter said, okay, we'll see what we can do. And because I've been diagnosed with something worse than ADHD, I have ADOS. Because I have ADOS, I just immediately forgot about it. And I said, okay, we'll see what we go. Great, okay, so something else. ADOS, by the way, is attention deficit, shiny. And I forgot about it. 2 days later, my phone rings at 5:30 in the morning, and it's the hosting provider of my network, of my website. Shankman, sorry to call you so early. Have you started advertising? I said, no, what in God's name is wrong with you? It's 5:30 in the morning. So normally you get about 100 visitors a day to your website. Most of them are you. That was nice. He said, you've had over 37,000 unique visitors in the past 2 hours. Now keep in mind, this is '98, so there weren't massive server farms. He said, you've crashed our first, second, and third primary servers. You're about to take down our fourth, fifth, and sixth. Sir, we only have 7. A story broke on the front page of Life section of USA Today. Listed the website. I was clueless. as I put down the phone, I mean, get a picture of the scene. It's 5:30 in the morning in my underwear in a studio apartment on 10th Avenue. Put down the phone. It rings again. A little more trepidation in my voice. Hello? Peter, hey, this is Gary Dell'Abate. I'm Howard Stern's producer. You got 5 seconds? We hated that fucking movie. Sure. Live interview with the Howard Stern Show. Long story short, in just under 2 months, I sold a little over 10,000 shirts on the web at $15 a piece. My dad, at the time, actually was a high school principal. I hired 10 of his students to come over every day and help box up T-shirts and take them to the post office. It was like a P. Diddy studio sweatshop apartment. Cleared 100 grand from this little venture and launched my agency. Why do I bring that up, other than the fact that it's a funny story? If you try to do that today, okay, another movie like Titanic comes out, God help us all, and you have a T-shirt or something fun, and you take it into Times Square. You know what's going to happen today? Someone with a camera phone, within 5 seconds of you doing it, is going to show up, take a picture, upload it. 50 people are going to copy that photo. Whoever has the biggest network on Twitter, on Facebook, on Bebo, whatever, will go to Cafe Press, create the shirt using nothing but text, and sell a ton of them. And you'll be in Times Square with 500 T-shirts that you're going to have to give out as Christmas gifts. We've moved into the age of immediacy, and for those who are looking for attention, you have to be a lot smarter. Which, to everyone's response when I usually say that, is, well, you know, we just have to create something better and make it viral. Well, if you're tweeting this, which I would hope you are, because it's a great way, it's a great way to, if you have a Twitter account, it's a great way to promote your brand. If you're saying smart things on Twitter, it's a wonderful way to promote your brand. I get quotes all the time and tweet them, and they get retweeted. Oh, who's this Skydiver guy? He puts a lot of stuff on there. Let's follow him. It's a great way to promote your brand. So if you're tweeting this, I would say that, here's a tweet for you. You can't make anything viral. The ability to make, you want to make something viral? H1N1. That's essentially all you're going to make viral. What you can do is make something good. You can't make anything viral, but you can make something good. You can find something that, for whatever reason, you latch onto, you like, that other people find. And they say, hey, this is really cool, because social media is nothing more than trust. Social media is trust. If I like something and send it to you, you have to trust me enough that I'm not sending you a pile of crap. If I'm giving your email and saying, hey, I'm forwarding this to you, you have to trust me enough to open it. And then more importantly, if you're sending it to friends, your reputation goes on the line. Social media, at its worst, is reputation management. In my personal opinion, social media does not exist. What does exist, 99% of the time, is the ability to screw up to a much larger audience in a much shorter amount of time. And if you don't believe me, I'll start naming airlines. But social media, for the majority of it, is the ability to screw up to a much larger audience in a much shorter amount of time. So with that, you can't make anything viral, you can make something good. I'm going to show a video real fast. I'm going to get rid of this god-awful photo of me on here and show you a video that I found about a year ago that stars a guy who was living in San Francisco, I think. And some of you probably met him at other conferences, and he was a video game programmer, I think, and he decided he wanted to quit this and go around the world. And so he did. And he came back and posted the video online of him going around the world. And it got a ton of views. If that's the same phone 3 times, I'm answering it next time. It won't be pretty. So he went around the world, and he came back, and it had such a great response. Stride Bubblegum, or Stride Gum, asked him to go around the world again and take videos everywhere he went and post it online. So he did. And he came back, posted the video online, and had 15 million views in 24 hours. The next day, he was featured on the Today Show. The day after that, NASA featured it as the astrological image of the day, which was ironic because it was neither astrological nor an image. The end result was somewhere around 25 million views on just YouTube alone. And it's pretty much become a household name. He now goes around and talks about how he did this, and I don't think he's programmed computers in about 2 years. So if we can kill the lights, I'm going to show you a fun little video. I guess we can't kill the lights. Well, maybe we can. Maybe the lights will go off magically. This is called dancing. Let's see, do we have sound? We do, sweet. That way, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Hold it steady.
Aveva da guardare.
So Stride Gum wanted nothing more than a little blurb at the last possible frame. And something that started them on this massive jump from obscurity to a well-recognized gum. Anyone not seen that before? It's about maybe 30% of the room. That means 70% of you got it forwarded. It came out about 8 months ago. The website's wherethehellismatt.com, but I don't recommend forwarding it now. It came out 8 months ago. It looks stupid. So what are we looking at here? That was something fun, and it was something simple, and everyone smiled. I watched you, and you all laughed at the right moments, and you forwarded it out. That's what social is. Okay? We are a society that loves to be finders. We are a society that loves to be finders. If we can create something good, and it's found by people, and they think it's good, instinctively, they will go and they will send it out. Guarantee you, the guy who created fire, okay, just started walking up to random people. You know that's how it happened. Fire was good. So when you look at something like that, in that regard, oh, I bored her. When you look at something like that, that's where social has its merits. So how did I do that with HARO? HARO, first of all, it was not an overnight success. It's a 10-year success. I've spent the past 10 years working in some form of PR and doing what I just call karmically good stuff for the hell of it. Well, because I'm a big believer in karma and because it's beneficial. And you never know when the universe is going to come back and help you out. And also because I'm a skydiver, and we kind of like good karma. We don't want, I really should have helped that woman across the street, yeah. So I've become a big fan of karma, and every year in like January, the third weekend of January, I send out an email. It started out to 100 reporters, and the last year I did it 2 years ago, it was to a little over 75,000 reporters, and I said, hey, I know a lot of people. I talk to everyone. The person I pity the most is the guy stuck on the plane next to me. I talk to everyone. If you ever need a source on deadline, call me. I don't want anything out of it. I just know a lot of people. If I can put you together with someone else and everyone wins, great, feel free. And I'd get the usual reporters emailing, a couple of reporters, oh, you're an idiot, don't stop spamming me. And I'd get a handful of reporters like, wow, that's really nice of you. What do you want? Nothing. I'm just help you out. And they'd file me, and they'd start calling on a regular basis. We live in a society which is very much me-centric. What can I get out of this? By doing this, how can I get something good? What can I achieve from this? When you do something as simple as, I want to help you, you're remembered. You're not simply recalled. Everyone gets recalled. Oh yeah, that was the guy who offered to get me sources, but then he wanted $50. Doing it to be nice gets you remembered and gets you that phone call, hey Peter, I'm on deadline, who do you know? And then when you have a story, hey Mark, remember I helped you out a couple times? I have a story that might work for you. I figured I'd give you a call and see if you wanted it. They're going to take your phone call. So that's why I did it. It was a nice thing to do. It helped some people, and maybe it would come back to help me. Well, as I grew that list every year, if you go back on Gawker.com, every year that I sent it out, they'd make fun of me. Every year. They would write a snarky piece. Hamilton Nolan would write a snarky pay-for-play piece every year about, what a loser I was and what was my angle, and I obviously wanted something, and that's fine. It's better than not being in Gawker. But you get used to that, and every year I'd send it out and get bigger and bigger until reporters started calling me about things I didn't know, people I couldn't connect with. Hannibal Lecter said it best in Silence of the Lambs, we covet what we know. That I could quote Hannibal Lecter at the Affiliate Summit is pretty cool. When you don't know someone, you try to find people who do. So on a whim, I set up a Facebook group about 2 years ago, in November of 2007, yeah, about 2 years ago. And I would forward the queries that I got from these reporters out to my list of about 100 people, my friends. If they could answer them, great, took out the middleman. Well, I did this for about 3 months. And then a company called PR Newswire does the same thing, but they charge about $4,000 a year for it. And they called me on a lovely day. I was actually walking through a CVS drugstore buying ibuprofen for a newly broken rib when my cell phone rang. And by ibuprofen, I mean Percocet. And the phone rings, and I'm just been at the doctor, so I'm high as a kite on Percocet to begin with. And it's the head of Profnet, the head of PR Newswire. We're going to sue you. You're stealing our queries. Now, mind you, this is the Percocet. No, I'm not. Said, well, we posted a query on Harry Potter that you posted on your little list, and we're going to sue you. You're stealing our queries. I said, if a reporter sends me the same query they send you, and we both post them, how am I stealing your queries? And then, because the person said, I'm like, oh my God, dude, ProfNet, you're totally stealing my queries, stop that. And they didn't find that funny. Again, second lesson about big companies not finding me funny. So, at the time, I had 200 members in this little Facebook group. I said to them, I remember this clear as day, I said, I see your office from where I'm standing. It was 3 blocks away on 7th Avenue. I said, I see your office. I have 200 members in my Facebook group. Do you want them? Buy me a steak and a good martini. I'll give them to you. They're yours. I'll meet you tonight. I'll give them to you. Do whatever you want with them. They're friends of mine. I'm just trying to be a nice guy. Fine, we'll be in touch. I slammed down the phone. And I got home, and I started realizing that they were playing by the old rules. The old rules of, if we want something and you won't work with us, we'll use law, and we'll sue you to get it. And the new rules state that if you can work with the person first on a good way, you will almost always have better success. If you do and it doesn't work, sue their ass. But if you can do it a better way, and I've seen that applied more and more times here. Companies are constantly, oh, we're gonna, they're doing the same thing as us. Fine. They just started out. It's 2 kids in a basement. Here's $100 and some beer. We now own you. And you're seeing that more and more. And that's one of the biggest changes I've seen in the past 5 years. And lawyers are still very valuable. They're useful mammals, but people aren't running to them immediately. So I didn't hear anything from ProfNet for PR Newswire for about a week. And then I finally came out of the Percocet haze. And I realized I didn't hear it. I'm like, that was really rude. They never called back. It was like asking me out and then not following up. I was really hurt. So I simply built a website called Help a Reporter. And I said, well, if they're going to mess with me, and they didn't want the steak and martini deal, if they're going to mess with me, I'm going to give them something to mess back with. What do I have to lose? I live in an apartment with 2 cats. It's not, So I started this little group, and I pushed the 200 people over. The rules of the group were very simple. Play nice. Don't spam. Don't post on the web where other people can see it and pull the addresses for spam. And literally, if you go to the rules of HARO, there are like 4 or 5 rules, and the 5th rule, I swear to God, it says be excellent to each other. That is the 5th rule of HARO. It took 75 comments before someone realized that was from Bill and Ted. So that's all I had. That was those 5 rules. ProfNet came down like a ton of bricks. They said they threatened to sue. They started having all their sales reps email all the reporters and say, you're using an inferior service. To which the reporters are smart. The reporter said, okay, so A, you're calling me when I'm on deadline. You know I'm on deadline because I just posted a query on Peter's service. And he's obviously scaring you if you're taking time out of your day to call me. By the way, don't call me, I'm on deadline. So that didn't work. I just kept playing along like it was the nicest thing in the world. Yeah, just helping reporters out, helping people out, happy to do it. And I actually, at the point, had no intention of selling ads. I had no intention of doing anything. And my whole thing was transparency, transparency, transparency. And that is rule 1. Of the 4 rules that I'm going to offer you today, the 4 ideals of social media, rule 1 is transparency. Okay? Everything that happens, I'm going to blog about, I'll post it, I'll mention it when it goes live. I was having, essentially, a conversation with my audience. The people who were getting my email, I was having a conversation with the queries, the reporter queries. Was anyone here on HARO when I first moved it over to the web? Anyone? No? Okay, a couple people. So you remember when it was like really, really in the beginning? It was like me, like, yeah, hey, my cat just puked. Here's some queries. It's just the most random stuff, whatever I happen to be doing. It was a conversation. People thought I was talking to them. And I was. When I had 200 members, it was pretty easy. Under 100,000 now, it takes a little longer to respond to my email. But I was talking to them. I was being transparent about my day, about what I was doing, about why I was running HARO. And that transparency lent itself to immediate trust. Immediate trust lends itself to viral. Immediate trust lends itself to viral. When people got the HARO, oh, wow, it's another email from Peter. It didn't come from help reporter out admin at help reporter. It came from peter@shankman.com. It was I used my personal email account. To this day, that was one of the best ideas I ever had, was using my personal email account. I would send it out from peter@shankman.com, and they'd go live. And people would respond, hey, Peter, thanks for the queries. And wherever I was, I'd carry my BlackBerry with me dude, no worries, glad they're helping. And I started responding in real time as people were emailing me, and it became a conversation. Social media is 2-way communication. You want broadcast? Go to radio. Social media is not broadcast, it's two-way communication. Radio is broadcast. TV is broadcast. If you are engaging in a social media campaign, you must be prepared to talk as well as listen and as well as respond. Everyone jumps on the social media bandwagon and posts. They tweet, and they Facebook, and they blog, and they no one really MySpace anymore, kind of Arsenio a couple of years ago, but everyone is Facebooking and tweeting, and no one's listening. If you want to be transparent, and you want people to pay attention to what you have to say, make them feel like they matter. Listen to what they are responding. They're responding to you, for God's sake. They're taking the time out of their day to say, hey, interesting article. Hey, Delta, thanks for not crashing. Hey, whatever the case may be. They're saying that. Try and respond to them. I will pick on Delta, by the way, until the day I die, because they do not do anything. They've had countless opportunities to make social media better, to make flying better, and they continue to figure out a way not to do it. It's like if they had the opportunity, they'll deliberately not take it. Southwest, on the other hand, rocks. So they are the ultimate so if you want to follow some good travel social media, follow Southwest Airlines and Omni Hotels. So anyway, back on target. Sorry, ADOS. Transparency, we're in an age right now where transparency exists. Our current administration in the White House is based its entire campaign on transparency. And if you remember the first week in, he appointed Tom Daschle. Obama appointed Tom Daschle to something. I don't remember what position. And he had to step down a couple days later. Obama goes on the weekly shows, the talk shows that Sunday, and they're ready to crucify. They're ready to devote 30 minutes of the entire show to talking about how he screwed up. And he gets on, and the first question, so that whole Daschle thing. And Obama says, yeah, I screwed up. And then you saw all these executive producers running in the back going, crap, what do we talk about for 29 minutes and 45 seconds? He admitted he screwed up, and they moved on. And then it became, so are the daughters adjusting to Washington? We are in a society now where for the first time ever, old white men are no longer running the country. Old white men have run corporate boards for the past 100 years. For the first time ever, corporate boards are skewing younger, and they're skewing, in some cases, off-white. What does that mean? That means that we're adopting new ways of running corporations, and those new ways include transparency. Those new ways include we screwed up, let's admit it, and we'll move on. Enron, WorldCom, MCI, Tyco. Enron was brought down by a reporter in a high-rise Googling. She said something seems wrong here. She figured it out, led to a book, led to an article in Fortune, led to Enron's demise. Some said that was the start of the multi-billion-dollar falls. Look at Enron, AIG. AIG is now too big to fail, which is exactly how I'm training for the marathon, just eating everything. Come November, I'm going to have to win. Everything you look at, though, has been brought on by a lack of transparency. So we're seeing companies go for transparency, and more importantly, we're seeing consumers relate to transparency. And the second you are transparent, a consumer's level of trust will go up, and they will be willing to recommend. And there's a reason I keep coming back to recommendation, and that'll be my last point. So that's transparency. Transparency is the new black. I guess it's transparent. I guess it's technically the new opaque. But, so that's the first point. I was transparent about everything I did. Second point is relevance. I was relevant. Every HARO email, I essentially created email crack. God forbid you worked for a company that the New York Times wanted to talk about that industry, and they posted the query in HARO, and God forbid that morning you didn't open it. Yeah, you didn't open it, and you were too busy, and you deleted it, and 3 days later a huge article came out featuring everyone in the industry but you. You'd be fired. It was in HARO, why didn't you see it? You're fired. So I created email crack. You had to open it, but I kept it relevant. I divided the categories up, technology, business, finance, whatever the category was. And in doing so, was able to get people exactly what they needed when they needed it. I listened to what they asked for. They said, hey, we want to be able to click on the categories and go. Fine, we learned how to send HTML emails, started sending them. And as soon as we emailed back to people and said, hey, we're doing exactly what you want, what you asked for, we created that link of trust. That, holy crap, they listened and they're doing that. Thank you. It doesn't matter that 8,000 people asked the same thing you did. We emailed them all back and said, we're doing what you asked. And they immediately said, wow, that's really cool. Relevance became giving people what they want when they wanted it. How do you give your clients your information? How do you give your readers information? Have you ever stopped and said, hey, we're giving our information to our clients, our journalists, our sources, the way they want it. We're giving it to them via print. Anyone ever thought of actually a newspaper article? Or actually running off copies and handing them out? Remember that? How do your readers get their information? How do they like to get their information? Stop. Have you ever asked them? Have you ever actually sat down and said, hey, how do you like to get your information? Podcast? Videocast? When I'm not running with Sarah here every morning, and I'm in the park by myself because she overslept, I have my iPod. And I am getting all my information on my podcast every morning as I lumber through Central Park. It's about a 3.4 on the Richter scale. I'm lumbering through Central Park. Every morning, I get all my iPod, all my information on 4 or 5 different podcasts. I get back to my apartment, I'm smarter. I'm somehow fatter. I don't know how that works, but how do you get your information? Anyone here get their information this morning from a newspaper? This is not a newspaper's dying rant. They're not dying. Everyone shut up. Did anyone get their information from a newspaper? Good. Radio? Radio, this is the greatest radio town in the country for all of you who are not from here. TV, in your hotel room this morning. Web. Really? Okay. Twitter? Anyone follow me? Anyone find out about Michael Jackson from me? I was in Bogota at an outdoor cafe learning about, Michael Jackson. I didn't even know what they were saying until they kept saying Michael Jackson and muerto. I'm like, oh yeah, wow, how about that? Tweeted it right out from a cafe in Bogota. It's irrelevant where you're from. Anyone still watch the nightly news? Not one person. One person in the back. The average age of the nightly news viewer now is dead. We're watching the nightly news to get updated on whatever happened between the time we shut off the computer 2 minutes earlier and the time we got into bed. That's all it is. So the question, but there are still people watching it. So the question is, are you following how your audience is getting their information? Do you know how they want to receive their information, and are you giving it to them in that way? Are you sending out press releases? You might want to consider it. I mean, there are still like 3 people in this country that are reading press releases. If those 3 people are your audience, you need them. Everyone else, though, doesn't bother. So that's relevance. I was relevant to the way the audience wanted the HAROs, and every time they'd say something, if enough people said it, I'd say, okay, let's do this. And I would send them all a note. We did it because you asked us to. Brevity is my favorite one. For the under 25s, again, this is going to be weird. This is going to totally weird you out. Back in the 80s, all the way back in the 80s, a couple of people had this great idea. They said, we're going to take these songs that you hear on the radio, and we're going to make like little mini movies out of them. And we're going to actually create a TV station for this. And they called the station MTV, and they called the little movies videos. Now, I know that's weird because MTV now is a reality channel, but honest to God, they had these little things, and we would all go into school the next day going, wow, did you see the latest Duran Duran video? D-U-R-A-N, and then D. They were really, really big. Anyway, so that's how we did this. Okay, and that's in the 80s. So the average attention span in the 80s was roughly 3 minutes. Average attention span now, according to several studies. Anyone? About 2.7 seconds, or ADOS, about 2.7 seconds, or roughly 140 characters. It takes roughly 2.7 seconds to read a text message. Notice I didn't say to read a tweet. I'll just go off on a tangent. I don't necessarily know that Twitter is going to save the world. Okay? We need to focus on a differential here. Twitter and tweeting. Tweeting we all get. The act of sending a text message was ingrained into our heads through 2 events in this country, 9/11 and American Idol. We get the act of sending a text message. Okay? But Twitter, the company that we all send it out through, as to whether or not they're going to survive is anyone's guess. Okay, especially with the friend feed Facebook news yesterday, that's anyone's guess. The concept of short burst messaging, though, is not going away. Where it comes from, that's still up in the air. Back on topic. Brevity essentially states that you need to be able to get to your audience in 1 paragraph. Anyone ever been on a plane? When the plane lands, you turn your BlackBerry, you have that 5 seconds of peace and bliss before it finds a signal, and then you're like the people in Thailand in 2007, did you see the tsunami coming and you know you're screwed? And you look at your BlackBerry and it's like, oh, nothing, 400 in like 2.5 seconds. So when you get that, and I get that like on a daily basis because I'm always on the road, when you get that, here's what happens. Email gets divided in my head, and I'm sure in yours, if you think about it, into 3 categories. First category is emails that you can immediately respond to and delete. There's nothing as aesthetically calming as seeing an email, deleting it. Oh, it's gone. Do that 300 times, I've cleaned up my inbox. So the first, you can immediately respond to them and delete them. One-word answers on your BlackBerry. Yes, no, 42, dinner, poodle. Whatever the question is, one-word answers. The second are emails that you know you have to go back to the office to reply to because you need to attach a spreadsheet or you need to do whatever. You mark those. And you know that they'll be in a certain folder when you get to the office. Third emails are the emails that start off with something like, hey, Peter, hey, got your name from Michelle. Michelle and I knew each other back in college. I went to Cleveland State. Anyway, Michelle told me you were the perfect person to ask. She raves about you, talks about you all the time. Anyway, I told you, I met Michelle at Cleveland State College. Anyway, Michelle and I, the reason I'm emailing you today, I was going to do it yesterday, but totally got slammed with, you're 8 paragraphs in, I don't know what the you were talking about. I haven't even gotten to the heart of your message. You know what happens? It closes. I close your message because there are 200 other more important messages behind you. And by more important, I mean messages written by people who know how to write. Behind you are 200 more important messages because they, in the first paragraph, told me what they needed, what they wanted, and how I could help them. That is the beauty of brevity. How do you get brevity? Learn to write. What will save us as a society in the next 10 years? Learn to write. Studies suggest that 80% of our initial communication as marketers with people are going to come from written word in the next 10 years. Learn how to write. Take a class. I said this at an NYU speech about 4 months ago, and there was a professor in the back of the room, long, flowing gray hair, just sat there, looked 70 years old, looked like Jesus. And he's sitting in the back, just quiet, and I finally go, learn to write, and I swear to you, he stood up and he went, testify! He said, I've been trying to teach him that for years! Learn to write. Learning to write, on average, will increase the number of responses, it will increase the number of buys, it will increase the number of click-throughs. You have one paragraph to nail the reporter, you have one paragraph to nail the buyer, the person. If they're at your site already, they're already willing to buy. You will lose them if you do not know how to write. That is brevity. Brevity is knowing how to write. Okay? I would rather read 3 paragraphs where the first one has sucked me in than a book written by someone who can't write. Learn how to write, you will increase your sales. It's that simple. It's that simple. That's brevity. And then finally, the last thing that I did to really help grow HARO, I tried to do something called what I call top of mind presence. It really doesn't have a good term. I got to come up with a better term for it. Top of mind presence, essentially, back in the 70s, there was a guy named Barry Diller. Barry Diller spent, his big claim to fame in the 70s was he helmed Paramount. And he went to Paramount, and when he went there, Paramount wasn't doing really well. And he went there, and every morning he'd get up a half an hour early and get in the office a half an hour early. Never underestimate the power of getting up a half an hour early. It will change your life. Get up a half an hour early, he'd go into the office, and he'd call 10 random people in his Rolodex every morning. 10 random people. A Rolodex was something they used before, like Outlook or iPhones. It was actually business cards, and it rolled. Okay, so he'd go in and call 10 random people every morning just to say hi. Say, hey, what's going on? Hey, what are you working on? It's Barry Diller, how are you? How's the weather in New York? What's the latest? Wouldn't try to sell him anything. He'd just say hi. Every morning, he'd do this. Over the course of 3 to 4 months, he'd go through his entire Rolodex. 3 to 4 times a year, if you were in Barry Diller's Rolodex, you get a phone call from the head of Paramount Pictures saying, hey, how are you? When you had a movie you wanted greenlit, or you had a new actor you wanted signed to something, you could have gone to Warner Brothers or 20th Century Fox and gone through their phone tree, talked to their assistants. Voicemail didn't exist. They had people. And you do that, and you could do that, or you could return Barry's call. You could call Barry back because he called you 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Hey, it's so-and-so calling for Barry, returning his call. That would get you through. Under Barry's tutelage at Paramount, Paramount went from worst to first. And if you look up Paramount on the Internet Movie Database, look at the movies that came out in the early 80s. You know every single one of them. They made billions. Because he would get up every morning and call people. every morning, here's my morning. I get up ridiculously early, I go for a run, or bike, whatever, come back, make coffee, because, I mean, really, make coffee, go to my living room, push a morbidly obese cat off my laptop, open up the laptop, and go to Facebook. On the right-hand side of Facebook, on the bottom, under ads and crap, are birthdays. I open up everyone. I have 12,000, 13,000 people or something in my fan page. I open up every single one of their birthdays in a new window, like 30, 40 windows. It takes about 10 minutes. And I say, hey, Mark, happy birthday. Michelle, have a great birthday. In about a third of them. Another third of them, I'll look and see their email addresses and shoot them a quick email. Say, hey, happy birthday. Have a great day today. Another third of them, I'll find their Twitter address and I'll send them a DM. Happy birthday. I go through my entire day of people's birthdays. And that's it. And it's not a buy message. It's not, hey, Mark, happy birthday. And buy my book. No. It's, happy birthday. The day's about you. Hope you enjoy it. Takes 10 minutes out of my day. Maybe. On a big day, it takes 10 minutes. I get nothing out of it. Have I done that to anyone here? I can't see anyone here. I said 1, 2, 3. Isn't that cool? Just random. Happy birthday, have a great day. Took about 5 seconds. You're like, oh, hey, busy schedule. I wonder where he is in the world. Oh, I should read the HARO. It's all self-connected. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, yet, on average, we talk to 3% of our network on a regular basis. In our network, we talk to approximately 3% on a regular basis. The other 97%, for some reason, we don't give a crap about. We met them at a bar while drunk. We met them at conferences and said, no, dude, totally. Problem is, right now, we need to go back to relevance. Facebook, and look, I don't know who's going to win the war of social networking. I don't know if it's Facebook or LinkedIn or Google or Twitter. It's going to be Google. But regardless, right now, Facebook, let's just use that as an example, they don't understand relevance. They don't understand the difference between, in my world, you, my mother, you, or my assistant back there. They don't understand the difference in any of those. All they know is that I'm connected. Sure, I can go in and manually put in the relevance. Met at a party in 2004. They don't understand it. Right now, if I meet you at a bar and we start dating, okay? Not you, her. Is anything wrong with that? What would happen is we'd start dating and we'd start Facebooking and Twittering and friending and all that. And if we ever broke up because I did something stupid, just pretty much a given, we would simply stop, in real life, we'd simply stop talking. Right? We'd go our separate ways. You wouldn't send me a note that says, at this point, you no longer have access to send me mail. You no longer have access to post things. I mean, you could. That's a restraining order, entirely different scenario. More than likely, we just stop talking. And that's how life works. On Facebook, I actually have to scroll down all the way to the bottom left and click on Remove Friend. Remove Friend? Awkward? Who does that? It's so awkward. So basically what happens is all these people stay in your network even though you don't want them to. And their relevance is no different than the relevance between me and my mom. It's just weird. Here's where I see us going. Okay? 12 to 24 months. And this is where I'm trying to groom HARO. And I'll give you some secret info about what I'm doing with HARO. I'll give you some secret info that's about to be streamed live on the web about what I'm doing with HARO. So quick, someone call PR Newswire and tell them to listen. Here's where I believe we're going. I believe we're moving towards one network. And I believe that one network will be everyone you've ever met. Okay? These things that I have, I got really heavily involved in these guys very early on because I fell in love with them. This is called a Pokin. Anyone seen these? I actually bought 1,000 of them you have one? To resell because I think they're brilliant. Essentially, they're you sit on the keychain, you go to your computer, you put this in, enter in all your social media info, your Facebook name, your Twitter name, your picture, your phone number, everything. You then carry it with you. When you meet people at conferences, at parties, at bars, whatever, that have them, just touch, and they transfer all the info. When you go back online, plug it back in, it uploads that person's info to your contact book, automatically starts the Facebook follow, the Twitter friend, or the Twitter follow, the Facebook, whatever. Starts everything. Goes back all in one time. And you simply have everything all on here. These right now are just becoming popular in the US. They're huge in Europe right now. But, I mean, so is David Hasselhoff. So, but these things are huge in Europe, and they're growing in massive population in the US as well. I love these things because they totally fit into the one network category. Basically, imagine your day. Okay, do they have at this hotel, for whoever's staying here, do they have the little plasma TVs built into the bathroom mirrors? They have them at the W. It's really cool. It's these little plasma TVs built into the bathroom mirror. So as you're shaving, you're watching CNN. My belief is in like 12 to 24 months, the CNN ticker is going to be replaced by what I'm calling your live stream, for lack of a better word. And your live stream is going to be essentially all the people that matter in your network and what they did last night, or what they did since the last time you logged on, or since the last time you looked. How are you going to find, how are you going to find who these people are and why they're worth it to you, as opposed to the 1,000 people you have in your network? Everything's going to be based on relevance. Who you're emailing. We become friends in the new world. We start dating. We're emailing more. We're texting more. Okay, we're using our Google Android phones. Okay, Google has had 800 Goog 411 for the past 2 years, right? Where you could get free 411 information just by calling and talking to a computer. That's really nice. Google did that because they're really nice. No, that's not why Google did that. Google's not really nice. They're evil. Google did it because now, in 2 years, they amassed about 187 million voice prints, okay, of every word in the human language. So now, with Google Voice, anyone got their Google Voice number? Isn't that text messaging where it translates the voicemail to text? Isn't that awesome how they never get it wrong? I wonder why they never get it wrong. Oh, because they have 187 million voice prints of everyone in this country. That's why. So as we're texting and leaving voicemails and communicating all this info to each other, we're determining relevance in everyone's life. Okay? If we start IMing and texting and constantly talking, and then, like I said, I do something stupid again, and we stop, our relevance will diminish. For the simple reason that we're not emailing as much, or Facebooking as much, or texting as much, or buying movie tickets on Fandango together as much, whatever the situation may be, or flying to Europe as much. Whatever we're doing will be recorded on the network. Okay? And these little things will put that information into it. As we move forward, and everyone we meet, from our plumber to the bartender, will be in our network. How does that work for business? Every website you go to, same information. It'll pop back. Facebook Connect is just the beginning. You go to Jiffy Lube, you're waiting to get your car done, you poke in the big Jiffy Lube ball they have outside there. It says, Peter, was it Jiffy Lube? You walk next door to McDonald's to get a sandwich, to get a burger while your car's being there. Oh, you Jiffy Lube at the McDonald's. Or you poke in the McDonald's. You were just at Jiffy Lube. Here's $1 off your burger. Okay? You go back. It says, hey, I really liked it. I got $1 off my burger and I got my car lubed at Jiffy Lube. Sarah, the next day, is online going, her status message, I have to bring my car in to get its oil changed. Okay? Pop a little window. You know, Peter just went to Jiffy Lube yesterday and loved it. Check out his poking recommendation. It's not far-fetched. We're seeing it on a regular basis. Beacon, Facebook's poorly named idea for that thing, is working every day. You ever buy a movie ticket and see it pop up on Facebook 2 minutes later? Buy a gift, same thing. It won't necessarily show up. So the whole concept, the whole Orwellian, oh my God, they're going to know where we all are, they already do. So get over yourselves. But more than that, it's not going to necessarily show up on the grid for everyone to see, but it will be there. And the best example I can give for that, information used to flow from outside the network in. What should we do tonight for dinner? I don't know. Let's see what the New York Times is reviewing in new restaurants. Now, for the first time, information is flowing from inside the network to out. What should we do for dinner? I don't know. I'm hungry. What's online tonight? Oh, Sarah just went to Le Bernardin. She loved it. She gave it 4 stars. And the best example I can give for that is my friend Sarah went to a cheese shop in Lower Manhattan that just opened up a couple of weeks ago. New York Times reviewed it as the best cheese shop known to man, the greatest cheese shop anywhere. You have to go to this cheese shop. Okay. Sarah went to this cheese shop, and she posted a review. Said, this is a great review. And she tagged all of her friends in a note and tagged me and said, this is the greatest cheese shop ever. Peter, don't go there. Most cheese shops serve some form of fruit or, crackers or something else. This place just serves cheese. You're lactose intolerant for the sake of everyone in Manhattan. Don't go to the cheese. It's actually why I'm sniffling this much. I had a bagel and I heaped on the cream cheese about an hour and a half ago, and I'm suffering from it right now. So she posted, don't go to the cheese shop. Now, she might have been a little too public with her information. I might have defriended her, but she was right. Frank Rich, reviewing for the Times, wouldn't have known that. Okay, and I would have gone to the cheese shop and I would have become a bioweapon. A little too much info for you. Yes, it was the cheese. So that's what you learn, and that's where we're going. Imagine all that information coming from everyone you meet and people of relevance. Now, here's the interesting thing. Let's say Sarah was someone I just met at a bar 4 years ago and I didn't care. Her review never would have come up. But because of the contact that I have with Sarah, we email all the time, we IM, we have dinner, the system knows. Peter and Sarah are close. Peter trusts Sarah, which brings me back to what was that thing? Social media is trust. And when you look at the end, everything we do has to be squarely rooted in the concept of trust. Because at the end of the day, if we really all are on one network, it has to be about trust. Because everything you do, every single one of your friends will know you're doing, whether you like it or hate it. That's why I'll bring it back to Delta again. We had a landing a couple months ago in an unscheduled airport because the wing fell off or some crap, I don't know. And we land, and there's one Delta person at the counter who could not have cared less, and I start tweeting out, Dear Delta, stop sucking, help, we're stuck in this foreign airport. 6 tweets later, nothing. Southwest even said, hey, Peter, if you get in a car and drive 45 miles, we have an airport there, we'll fly you. So Southwest is monitoring Delta's tweets. Why the hell isn't Delta monitoring Delta's tweets? Fail, fail, fail. So you look at something like that. Now, when I get back, of course, I'm going to write a massive, Delta sucks blog post. Let's say I don't have 1,000 friends, 5,000 friends, 10,000 followers. I did this 2 years ago. I stayed at a Starwood hotel, and it was a really, really horrible experience. And if you go online, it was the only time I've ever had a bad experience at a Starwood. And it was so terrible that I actually had a camera with me, and I took pictures of the exposed wiring in my room and the shower that broke in the middle of said shower. And it was horrible, and I actually wrote a blog post on my way to my speaking gig called My Stay at the Sheraton Ghetto. And now in Sheraton's defense, it was called the Sheraton Miami Mart. And in retrospect, had I had time to think about it, I probably wouldn't have stayed at anything ending in the word Mart. Quickie, wall, I don't want to sleep there. So I wrote this blog post, and 3 hours later, my phone rings, and I get a phone call, and I answer the phone, it's Peter Shankman, Jess, please hold on for the president of Starwood Preferred Guest. Now, I didn't have any followers. I wasn't running HARO at the time. I was just a guy that ran a PR firm. What happened was, they knew that Google searches the same way that LexisNexis does, and that you can type in Starwood plus minus 20 within the word sucks. And anyone who writes a story that includes Starwood and the word sucks within 20 characters of it will show up. Imagine if that happened today. First thing I'd do. We are a society that loves to share. Next time you're on a plane, you're delayed 4 hours, listen to the cell phones when you land. First thing you'll hear, everyone gets on their phone. 4 hours, oh my God, worst flight ever. We're a society that isn't truly miserable until we've made everyone around us truly miserable as well. Social media allows us to do that. Social media also allows us to turn people into rock stars. I'll end it with this, and I'm happy to take questions or whatever. Your job, okay, under the guise of social media, your job is no longer to do your own PR. Okay, going back to the woman over there who I'm now dating. If I walk into a bar, and I see her over there, and I go, hey, you know what? I've never seen you before in my life. I go up to her and hey, I'm awesome. Okay, let's get out of here. You're going to throw a drink in my face and go back to your friends. Okay, given. I walk into the same bar. She's there. Her best friend's there. Her best friend sees me, turns to her, says, oh my God, that's Peter Shankman. Dude, I've heard him speak. He runs triathlons. He's really kind to his mother. You should totally go talk to him. You're going home with me. That's PR. Your job in this new age of social media trust is no longer to do your own PR. Your job is to use this thing we call social media to get other people to do it for you. And the best way in the world to do that is to provide stellar customer service to begin with. Know your audience, know what they want, know how they want to get it, and let them do your PR for you. With that, I thank you for coming out of your hangovers and listening to me this morning. I appreciate it.
So we've got time for a few questions. Just come on up to one of the mics on either side of the room and ask away.
I haven't been able to see anything with this light, so cool, we have mics.
Hey, Peter.
Sir.
Is that on? You mentioned Matt from Beaver 9 in Australia. You mentioned you listen to 4 or 5 podcasts in the morning. Would you mind sharing what those are?
Sure. They're mostly running podcasts because I'm a dork. There's a wonderful podcast called Multisport, which is a triathlete podcast. There's a wonderful podcast called Middle of the Pack. I will be blatantly honest, and I say that I do try to listen to things outside of the industry because I spend all day listening to the industry. So I kind of listen to the Chelsea Lately podcast every morning. Yeah, I knew her before she was anyone. Shut up, all of you. The thing about that is that here's an interesting factoid about Chelsea Lately, and I'll give you some of the things I read is what I think you're really asking. Come up to me later, I'll gladly tell you. But the interesting thing about Chelsea Lately is I've never seen her TV show on TV. I have TiVo to go. In terms of relevance, I have TiVo to go. I don't watch TV. For anyone who knows my social media monitoring station, I have 3 52-inch flat screens on my living room wall. One that monitors TweetDeck, one that monitors CNN, and one that monitors Facebook. I don't watch television. It's pathetic that I have these things. Instead, I have TiVo to go that whenever TiVo detects my laptop back from a business trip, automatically grabs everything that TiVo's recorded, dumps it onto my Mac. And then I get to watch it on the airplane. Okay, so I've never watched How I Met Your Mother on TV. I've never watched a commercial. I've never watched 24. I watch these all on the airplane. It is the greatest use of my time in the history of the world. The only thing, and that, again, that's relevance. I had an intern who I said, hey, we're watching, 2 years ago, watching the Super Bowl. You want to come over? He says, yeah, what time's it start? I said, oh, kickoff's at 6. He goes, cool, what time should I come over? I said, 6. And he goes, you're watching it in real time? And I went, oh, you're freaking fired? You know, it's like, that's not, real time is not an option anymore. So, again, that goes back to relevance. But yeah, How I Met Your Mother, 24, don't watch 24 in a plane. You will wind up screaming, the bomb's over there. I guarantee you. Trust me on this. It's not a good thing. Yes. Or yes. Yes. Yes.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's helped me. I'm probably everybody's mother's age. My daughter's 31. And my husband and I have a brick and mortar plumbing company that we have some pretty big ideas for, but we don't know what we're doing, and everybody here has been awesome. And your hilarity that I'm sure half don't get because I'm in the 80s and I love Duran Duran too. So I look at your vision that you have, and it's phenomenal. I hear a lot of the fears that somebody's watching and there's Big Brother, and I think it's amazing that you guys are open, you know, and honest about it. And I just kind of want to understand what might be for somebody brand new, and I've heard some great things, blog posting, or blogging, and go here to WordPress, don't spend too much money, see if you can do it. What would you recommend for the old broads in the neighborhood?
Well, first of all, you're here, so that in a nutshell is, you know, you're light years ahead of everyone else. The question was, what do you recommend for someone, and I wouldn't call yourself old by a long, I turned 37 3 days ago. I'm having serious issues with that. Because 37 is a slope to 40. 40 is the first age I ever remember my parents being. So I'm having real issues with 37.
My kids are there.
But the question is, how do you get in, and how do you just start doing it? The first day at AOL, in the newsroom, I walk in, and this editor named Monica, she's teaching me how to program. Anyone ever work for AOL? The system that ran AOL for 10 years was designed to run bank terminals. A little secret. It's called Stratus. It was designed to run bank terminals. It was not designed to handle 20 million people. And so we're on the system, and she's teaching me how to post news articles. And I hit something, and she goes, now hit execute. And I hit execute, and the screen goes blank, and she goes, oh my God, you crashed AOL. And I went, oh, it's AOL. And she goes, no, I'm just kidding. I thought I did. And it's sort of the same basis. You can't break it. You're not going to break the internet. You know? You're not going to break WordPress. Start blogging. Start doing stuff and telling your friends about it and seeing what they say. Most importantly, though, even more important than that, you need to have a presence. So yeah, you're building that. You're building your blog. You're Twittering occasionally. More than that, a million times more than that, shut up and listen. You're doing that by being here. Bless you. Go on to Twitter and type in your name. Type in your company name. Go on to Facebook. Can you imagine what happens when Facebook opens up their API? Now it's just a question of days with the friend feed acquisition. What happens when Facebook right now you could search 17 million people on Twitter. You're aware that every 23 days Facebook grows a Twitter? Think about that. Think about what happens when all of a sudden you could search 335 million people. Start learning to listen. That's the best advice I can give you.
Thank you.
Search your competitors.
Thank you.
Search, see what they're doing. Same thing with that. Think about that for a second. When you think about, imagine being able to search Facebook, It grows to Twitter every 17 days, searching all of that. That's why, again, it comes down to the Pokin. I don't know who the hell names these things. Pokin, Twitter. Everything has a sexual undertone to it. Pokin's biggest competitor is the mingle stick. Can you imagine what happens when those two are compatible? Can you imagine people at bars, I got Pokin and mingle stick, wham! No, it's a device. Yeah.
Hey, Peter. I'm at Jay Berkowitz.
Oh, cool. I know you.
Nice to see you. Great job, great storytelling, and I really appreciated it. I got lost in your 4 critical things for social media.
Yeah.
So can you hit those again
Sure.
so we can Twitter it?
Transparency, relevance, brevity, and top of mind. Top of mind is just the act of being there and having people think of you as that guy. Like, I have a question. Oh, ask Peter. He knows that stuff. So those are the 4, and they're simple. Yeah.
Hi, Peter. Dave Dalka. Nice
Hi.
to meet you finally. What does HARO teach us about people from
That's a
your
great
time
question.
doing it?
That's a great question. I would love to have there should be a study done on that. What does HARO teach about people? That 99% of people are smart and mean well and are caring and listen to instructions and do good things, and that 1% of people are freaking idiots. Oh my God, I love 99% of my HARO audience. I really do. I would take a bullet for every single one of them except that 1%. That on the HARO, right? There's 1,000 people that I can't stand. No, on the HARO. Shut up, get out. On the HARO, there's a you know how on the HARO it's the HTML, and all the HTML does is click to lower in the email. They're anchor tags, right? Every once in a while, because we're running late, or the email's delayed, or my editor's sick, whatever, we'll just run it as text. And we'll say, I swear to you, we post these, there is no HTML today, just scroll down. And then we hit send. And then we sit there and go 4, 3, 2, where's the HTML? I can't click, it's not working, your HARO's broken. Really? So yeah, I think that what it teaches us about people is that intrinsically and deep down, we do want to help. We do want to make people's lives easier, mixed in with a sense of, hey, you know what? I know that. I'm smart at that. I can get quoted and show my friends. We are in a society, like I said, the first part earlier, where where everyone does want to be, when they have a bad flight, they're only miserable. They're only truly miserable once they make all their friends miserable. Flip side of that is that when something great happens, it's not really happened unless they tell everyone. I'll quote another John Cusack film. He's like, do you want to be with anyone or do you just want to be with me? And he goes, it doesn't matter. I would say that if you can't say anything to me, you can't say anything to anyone. If it hasn't happened here and we can't Twitter about it or Facebook about it, as a society, we like to project when things happen. Somehow that justifies us. When something happens and we're able to promote it. Okay, there's a reason that every 8th person on Facebook's picture is them with Obama at some rally. Okay? Obama might go and murder 35 people. They'll still keep it up there because he's famous. And look, it's me and Obama. And so I'll just start posting on their wall. Dude, it's a great photo. Which one are you? Just to mess with them. But yeah, I think as a society, we like to be able to post when stuff happens about us and show that. What better way than to be quoted in the New York Times and then link it and friend feed it? And that's another reason Facebook's work, or that's another reason HARO's worked. Every time someone gets a story in, the first thing they do is post it to the Facebook fan page. So look at how great this is, and they send it to all their friends. And all their friends say, hey, how'd you get this? Oh, I use this thing called HARO. You should totally check it out. And then they get quoted. And they say, yeah, my friend, thanks so much for recommending this. And they tell all their friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. I've created Pert Plus. Someone remembers the damn commercial. Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, Peter. My name is at Brett Bum on Twitter. I don't
Cool.
have a real name anymore, but I was wondering, you've been talking about how we connect people and, helping people find that person. They've got a guy and getting them to there. Do you see anything out there that helps people actually work together? Because that one guy can't always do everything. And
That's a really good question. I think if I had to answer just with a gun to my head, I'd say that network, the network effect of, hey, can you hook me up with this person? Well, if that person doesn't respond, I think that what's going to wind up happening as we enter that sort of that level of trust on that one network, I trust Peter with all the information he has. He's smart. Let me see who he trusts the most in his network. That's kind of why I have such an issue with LinkedIn. People friend indiscriminately on LinkedIn. And if you look at LinkedIn, it's nothing more than your resume and a bunch of people blowing smoke up your ass. If I stole your car and got your daughter pregnant and left town with money, I'm probably not going to ask you for a recommendation in the first place. So rather, I'd like to see, show me photos of the people in your first degree who you trust the most, who on Facebook you have the most conversations with, who you're replying the most on Twitter, people who you trust enough to let other people know, hey, I'm friends with this person. It's the classic Seinfeld episode where George is dating someone ugly and he's afraid to bring her to meet his friends. If I trust you well enough to introduce you to my friends, okay, then you've entered that circle. And if someone says, hey, I need advice from Peter, he's not there, I'll talk to Brett. He knows he knows Peter, I can trust him. So I think the network will evolve to that, will allow us to work together, because we'll start embracing those other people with whom those trust leaders, or trust agents, as Chris put it, trust. Thanks. Cool? We good?
Oh, we got to take one last one from Chris here.
Oh, naturally.
Well, it's like calling Satan. You just said my name.
I was so hoping I'd get away with it, too.
No, but I mean, you raised an interesting point, because this is something I struggle with, and I'm curious of your take. So there's the friend everybody, and you're a good guy, or don't friend everybody, and you're a dickhead. Friend everybody, and that's somehow a vote for those people, even though you don't really vote for those people. I've had that kind of thing where someone goes, oh yeah, I just follow the people you follow. I said, are you retarded? I have followed porn stars and MLM marketers. So
someone please Twitter that @Chris Rogan follows porn stars and MLM marketers. Thank you.
Until I shut off the auto-follow, and now I don't follow anybody. Go F yourself. But that's my real point. And that's how I use LinkedIn, too. I'm a promiscuous connector. I'll connect to anybody because I just want your next level of friends.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend just anybody. That's my kind of...
Yeah.
Okay? So my question is, in your one network theory and your trusted theory, what is the new way that we can say, I like you, but I won't give you the car keys, and I'd give you the car keys and my wife?
Mm-hmm. You ever have one of those moments where there's so many smart-ass comments you can make at once, they all get stuck right here? You can't say any of them. I think that we're not there yet. I think that the system itself hasn't evolved to that. The best way I can say it is, right now, it's a tedious task. I go, if I want to know, okay, this person's following me, and this person's... There's a woman named Jin something on Twitter. I don't remember her name. Jin something. She retweets everything I say, to the point where it's a little scary. It's a little... I just tweeted that I had a really crappy run and I'm covered in sweat. Why would you retweet that? Where's the value in your... Ew. It's like creepy. So I don't know what that is yet. I think that what it's coming to is to the point where we will be able to, the more we communicate with these people, imagine this. Imagine that in 6 months, the more we communicate with people, the more we talk back to them, the more we reply to them, the more we take their advice, the more we give advice that they take, okay? They become on a higher level than just someone who follows me and I never talk to. And in that, I can give one of my greatest analogies ever. I expect within 6 to 18 months, we will all be, based on relevance, little globules of oil in a giant social media lava lamp. Okay? And the more we have relevance to people, the more they'll rise in our circle, the more we'll rise in theirs. The less we have relevance to them, the more they'll go down, the more we'll go down. And it's just going to be these globules of oil in the social media lava lamp that everyone, you might have thousands of globs of oil. Okay? And the more you trust someone, the more they're going to rise, the more you interact with them on a good level, the more and the more they interact with you, the more you have things in common, the more they'll rise in that trust factor. The less you do, okay? If you unfollow, God forbid you unfollow them on a network, it's going to be like devastating your credit score. Right now you get one credit card canceled, and your credit score drops by 100 points because you've affected your overall level of credit. If 100 people unfollow you all of a sudden, for whatever reason, that'll probably affect that level of trust. Oh, okay, he had 2,000 people trusting him, now he has only 400. And all of a sudden he's a man. What happened? What happened there? So I think we're going to see a lot of that as well. And I think that'll automatically start weeding out the spammers and the MLM marketers. Because if no one else is responding to them, okay, the system will automatically say, hey, keep an eye, this person wants to friend you, but warning. So that's kind of where I see it, if that makes sense. I think we're good.
All right, give him a round of applause
Guys,
again.
thanks so
Great
much.
job.